Let me sweep out the trash first and foremost. The lowlife Deputy Prime Minister of Britain, Angela Rayner, cigarette dangling from her lips, boasting about how she splits her beaver to entice and divert from the members of Parliament opposite. A woman who might well have auditioned for Ina Sharples back in the 1960s or 70s. This lowlife is a mascot of Tony Blair's Labour Party, nowadays led by Keir Starmer. More about Tony Blair in just a minute. This woman is a mascot, like John Prescott was a working class mascot for Tony Blair, a fig leaf to hide the ugliness of his nether regions. Angela Rayner is fond of her nether regions, talks about them all the time. And as I said, she's trash. She is exactly the kind of trash that would be lampooned in a soap opera. But she's done very, very well for herself. I knew her when she was a recipient of welfare benefits. I knew her when she was a battling trade union official, fighting for the downtrodden, the voice, the face of the new working class resistance. She's now a multi-millionaire. I know that because it's all on the public record. Angela Rayner, the mascot, is in fact a betrayer of everything that she once claimed to have stood for. She has just moved. Now, for those who don't know the geography of England, let me make this clearer. She's an MP in Greater Manchester, a tough working class part of the country, once part of the Labour heartland, once the capital of the Great Red Wall. Labour held every single seat in the Manchester City Council until we, the Workers' Party, took one of their seats off their own deputy leader. Labour's strength in Manchester is an indispensable part of any Labour government going forward. So she's moved to Brighton and Hove, the home of the Liberal, the Green, and the also achingly wealthy, but don't wear it on your wrist. Do you know what I mean? She's moved to the south coast of England whilst representing the northern industrial city of Manchester. She has no need of accommodation in London because there she lives in the splendidly ornate Admiralty Arch, which is the residence given gratis, free, by the people, a grateful people, to holders of the office of Deputy Prime Minister. So she represents Manchester and lives and works in the Admiralty Arch in London. So what do? Apart from saving £40,000 in tax, and remember, she's the one who once tweeted that tax avoidance costs lives. It's perfectly legal, but it costs lives. Well, by registering her new £800,000 apartment in Brighton and Hove on the south coast, she has saved herself £40,000 by declaring that it is her primary residence. Now, if I was a tax inspector, I'd be looking rather more closely at that claim. How do you define someone's principal residence? How often is she going to be in this £800,000 apartment in Brighton? Not often, because when she's not in London in the Admiralty Arch, she'll have to be in Manchester with her constituents. Won't she? Perhaps, won't she? I should put a different intonation on that. It may very well be that she is preparing a chicken run to Brighton and Hove, which would mean that Labour has abandoned hope in its own industrial red wall heartlands and can now only even dream of holding parliamentary seats amongst the university-educated, bourgeois, new Labour voters brought on board the party's ship by Tony Blair. On to Tony Blair. Some people say I'm obsessed by him. This was put to me 3 or 4 times today in response to this poll that we are running now. Is Tony Blair a war criminal? I am obsessed by Tony Blair because he killed 1 million people in my name, in the name of the British people, in the name of the British Parliament. Him and George Bush killed 1 million Iraqis. They had already been slaughtering 1 Iraqi child every 6 minutes of every day and night through their sanctions before they actually went in to finish the job. And they have killed 1 million Iraqis. The problem with Blair is, unlike George W. Bush, he won't retire to a presidential library where he can colour in his books. Blair is the bad penny that keeps turning up, whether it's trying to subvert the decision of the British people to leave the European Union, or whether it's on COVID, or whether it's on digital ID. You cannot turn the television on without seeing this ghoul, this war criminal on your screen. And that has been a source of never-ending anger for me, as will be plain as the maker of The Killings of Tony Blair, again a film of which I'll speak later. But now he's back in the Middle East. The man who killed 1 million Iraqis is now with Jared Kushner, Trump's son-in-law, in charge of turning the benighted, genocided Gaza Strip a mountain of 1 million bones, the flesh and blood and bones of 1 million innocents is there running through the fetid alleyways of what's left of Gaza, and Tony Blair and Trump's son-in-law are about to turn it into the Riviera, with a Trump Towers, with casinos and bordellos and condominiums and everything except Palestinians whose land it is. They are to be deported, voluntarily deported somewhere as yet unknown. This man will simply not give up. He hasn't killed enough people. He hasn't made enough money. His hands don't have enough blood on them. So, as long as Tony Blair is alive, as long as I am alive, and after me, my daughters and my sons, we will continue to hunt and haunt this war criminal, Tony Blair. That's not the only reason for continuing to be, well, interested in him. He's running the British government. Keir Starmer's strings are pulled by him. And if you think that's bad, wait till you see the guy who's about to take Keir Starmer's job from him. Wes Streeting, with a majority of 500, is the next in line to be Labour leader and Prime Minister. He is the unacknowledged son, the bastard son of Tony Blair. And Blair's life will continue as the occupant of 10 Downing Street, if and when I'm right and Wes Streeting ascends to that position. Mind you, it will not be for long. Labour has now reached 13% in the public opinion polls. They could not even win Brighton and Hove, especially with Angela Rayner as their candidate. I must press on because there's so much to discuss. Prime Minister, Foreign Minister, Information Minister, Culture Minister, Economic Minister, almost every single member of the Yemen government was murdered in an airstrike by Netanyahu and Israel. Now, parking for one moment, though I'm loath to park it, why do these people keep meeting in one place in the middle of a war so that Israel can kill them? Have they ever heard of Zoom? Do they know that you don't actually have to sit in the same room to make it easier for Israel to murder you? Parking that. What does Israel think it has achieved by this act of state murder? Has it made Jews safer? Has it made Israelis safer? Has it made the members of the Israeli government safer? This is something I need to tell all these Orientalists dancing on the grave, if grave it is, of Abu Ubaidah, the much loved, treasured voice of the Palestinian resistance these last 2 years past. We don't know who he is, but Israel knows who he is because they have killed 400 members of his family trying to murder him. And now they say they have murdered him. But here's the point. Do you think there won't be another Abu Ubaidah? Do you think there will not be a queue of people to take his microphone? Do you think the Yemenis will not be able to produce another prime minister? What are you achieving by these things? The Palestinian resistance in Gaza, which continues until this minute to take a terrifying toll on the Israeli invaders of their land, has more fighters now than it did when this began 2 years ago, post-October 7. This massacre, genocide, has it crushed the Palestinian resistance? No, it has made them bigger. It has made them better. It has made them more ready to fight and sacrifice in order to repel the invader from their land. Which part of that do Western commentators and benefactors and settlers in Palestine, which part of that don't they understand? If you've killed, as you certainly have, 100,000 mothers, don't you think their sons will be determined to take revenge upon you? If you've killed, as you certainly have, 100,000 young boys, don't you think their brothers will hate you forever and be determined to take their revenge? What about the daughters and the sons of all the people you've killed? Do you think they're going to forget their mothers and their fathers? Some of them are carrying the flesh of their eviscerated relatives on the back of their neck. If you've seen the pictures that I have seen today, a young man getting into an ambulance with the body parts of his family sticking to his head and his neck and his back. Do you think these people are ever going to go quietly into your good night? Or do you not understand that they will try forever to kill you back? Which part of this do Western political leaders, benefactors, and settlers not understand? Iran might very well be at war with Israel by the end of this show. I told you that last week. It's now imminent, according to all governments who've withdrawn their citizens and diplomats from both Tel Aviv and from Tehran. How much clearer does it need to be? Iran and Israel are about to fight another war. But this time, it's no more Mr. Nice Guy for the Iranians. They are, as Scott Ritter pointed out on this show just a couple of weeks ago, if that, Iran is legally entitled to launch an attack on Israel right now. Legally entitled. Under the laws of self-defense, Israel is openly stating that it's going to attack Iran. Israel already did attack Iran. Iran would be within its legal rights to launch its entire battery of ballistic missiles on top of the settler state right now, this hour. And they might well do so. Because if war is not just imminent, but ineluctable, unavoidable, why wouldn't you take the initiative in any case? Whether they take the initiative or they don't, the outcome of this next round of war will be way more significant even than the highly significant third round. You'll recall how difficult it was for Israel to survive the extraordinary precision and power of Iran's missile forces. Well, guess what? They got more powerful in the couple of months since the end of the 12-day war. And moreover, Chinese and Russian defense batteries and systems are now in place to make Israel's overflights of the capital city of Tehran and other strategically important places way more dangerous than it was before. The Palestinian resistance continues. It's a sad and melancholy fact that the Prime Minister of Yemen is the only Arab Prime Minister to be martyred in the defense of the million dead and mutilated in the Gaza Strip. Surely he is bound for heaven. Those who did not do so, indeed those who intercepted the Yemeni missiles, those who facilitated the Israeli murder flights that hit Sana'a and killed Yemen's government, are surely bound for somewhere else. Our first guest tonight, Tag Hickey, he's bound for Gaza. You'll want to hear more. Stay tuned. I'll be right back.